Good afternoon guys, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to some more mid-handicap testing. You'll see there we've got 3 different clubs here with 3 different lofts. So we have around about 1.5 degrees between the P790s and the Tacoma 101Ts, and we have 2.5 degrees from the P790s to the P770s. So when you're going to try and get fitted for clubs, you have to take that into account. It's all about, you might have 3 different 7.9s, you might have 3 different lofts. So how do you pick which one's for you? And that's what you've got to decide on: what kind of ball flight you need, what kind of conditions you want, and what you're trying to get from your fitting. So are you somebody who's trying to, like for Dave, try and get more landing angle, try and get the ball stopping on the green?
I just don't get as much spin as I should, really.
And Dave was using the Callaway DCB irons, very similar to the P790s, and we saw last year on Dave's on course, he could hit some greens, but they land on the green and run straight through the back. As soon as it came to the summer, Dave was hitting good shots, hitting better iron shots, hitting them towards the flags and towards the middle of the greens, but they'd land on there and run through. And that's why Dave has changed to go to a weaker loft, get some more launch, and get the ball landing softer and staying closer to the flag. That is all dependent on speed, all dependent on launch angles and angle of attack and impact factors, but simply having a little bit more loft has helped Dave.
Yeah.
We've got a 2-club wind here, so this is where when people are out on the golf course and you start to think, well, yeah, it's good to have it launching high, but is it going to go the distance in the wind? Is it going to stay straight? Is it going to be affected more? That's what we're going to show you today. So we're going to start with the P790. This is the club that if I gave people the option of 3, which I did Dave, he said, well, the P790 will be easier to get this going towards the middle of the flag and making sure I hit the green. That's what we're going to do. Dave's going to start with the P790. This should launch lower, but then is the wind going to help it? Is it going to hit the green and run through the back? That's what we need to know, and that's what you need to think about when you're getting fitted. Make sure it fits your golf club. So Dave's hit plenty of shots out here today, so he is as loose as a goose. We're going to go 2 shots each. We're going to start with the P790, then go to Dave's Tacoma, and then finish with the 770. So here we're aiming for the centre of the green, away from the bunker. Playing 145 yards, so this should be the perfect club, and that's taking into account the wind. So launch is nice and low. That is a bullet through the air, Dave.
Yeah.
A good strike.
Ooh. Oh.
Landed pin high. Luckily landed into an upslope there, so that stopped it pretty quick. But a good shot.
Yeah.
And that's a good strike from Dave. That's out of the middle, which, as we know, for Dave is a rarity. I'm only kidding, Dave. It's always out of the middle.
It's almost impossible.
But you see there, that would have probably ran on, like we saw on Trackman in the previous weeks, probably 15 to 20 yards. That landed on the green, that would have still ran through the back and put Dave into trouble. That's the launch that we see from David. The lower launch is it going to carry? And that is a prime example, isn't it, Dave?
It is. That's
launch lower. We know in previous weeks, if you've watched the last 2 weeks worth of videos, when we was using the Tacoma 101T irons, we're looking at 143 yards carry on average.
Yep.
With the 770, we looked at 141. When we got to the 790, similar strikes, but the average was down at 138, so that's not carried over that bunker, and that bunker is obviously at the front of the green, but that low launch doesn't get it the carry that we want. That's probably only carried 125, which has put Dave in trouble. So we're going to go now over to Dave's normal clubs. So the 101Ts, talking about these irons, one big thing that people look at is that top leading edge on the club, and how does that look down at the golf ball? It's a towering draw from the 101T, and you'll see that on Shot Tracer. Landed and stopped right in the middle of the green. So if I zoom in now on that, you'll see that has stopped on the green. We can see the 790 even a little bit longer. So as Dave puts his next one on there, we've got the 770 loaded up, but so obviously top edge thickness there you can see, and that's what we want to talk about. I've got the P770 in there, the P790 on the right, and that's something that Dave didn't like the look of, and he preferred the look of this. This is much closer to Dave's current irons, the Tacoma. So let's hit that second one, Dave. A good first one in the heart of the green. Also, the offset on the P790 wasn't something that we would fit for Dave. caught that a little bit before, not the best strike, but that is still
bad,
on the
though.
green and done exceptionally well. So we'll see there, if I zoom in to those golf balls, we'll see that's ran out just to the left of the ball. So you'll see, still with a miss hit, has made it onto the green. One big thing Dave's seen with these irons, he has seen a lot of forgiveness over the winter and into the season. He's getting his miss hit shot still onto the green. Again, with the P790s, we are expecting more forgiveness. If you are a higher handicapper and you don't mind the look of these, they are a fantastic club for you to use. But Dave has gone for the P770s now, which are very much more looking like these 101Ts. And that's launched very similar to his 101Ts. You'll see that as pitched on the green. We see there the consistency of these kinds of irons. That wasn't Dave's best strike, but we can see
it still went.
The third ball just on the left of those. So pin high, exactly what we'd like to see. These ones are, again, a little bit weaker than Dave's irons. So as we go through different sets, you'll see that degree of loft does change a lot. And that's something you need to be aware of, because this is massive when you see next week, when we talk about what wedges Dave has gone for, how they fit in with your set. What is your pitching wedge loft? How is that going to affect what wedges you use? How is that going to affect the top end of your bag later in the year? And that's a fantastic shot, a very similar flight there. Launch tyre just reached the green there, so affected a little bit more by the wind. That could be that extra degree of loft, or that could be Dave's impact factors. So guys, that's 3 different clubs there, 3 different results. We're going to jump up onto the green now, show you where they have finished, which one of these suits Dave the best, and it all comes down to price, a typical Yorkshireman. So when we talk about dispersion, we can see the P790 is the shortest, but it's also the longest, so it's also right up there at the back of the green. So we can see front to back consistency is where Dave certainly would struggle with those irons with the stronger lofts, and that's what we saw from his DCB Callaway irons. First of all, here we have on the green is the P770. We then have the P770 there, but the 2 closest and most consistent are those 2, and those are the Tacomos with Dave. That's why he's been used to them. He's got used to the shaft, he's used to the feel. Not the weakest of lofts, not the strongest of lofts, but the ones that Dave is feeling more comfortable with. So it's not always obviously down to price. I'm only joking with Dave being a Yorkshireman. As we did say in previous weeks, my dad had some i5s before he got some new clubs last year. But it's all about performance. We can see these 2 Tacomo shots very consistent on the green, giving Dave a chance.
Yeah, we were aiming for the middle of the green, not the pin, because
we was, and Dave missed to the
pins.
left as usual. His tendency as is Mr. Left. But we landed one on there, each stopped within a yard. The second one was a missed hit, landed just at the front of the green and ran out maybe 10-15 feet. So a great example there of a misstruck shot with all of the clubs. We've not hit perfect shots with them all, as we are a mid-handicapper. You don't. So then we want to see which one is then going to be the most consistent. So it's all about performance, guys. It's all about testing the golf clubs out. When you get into the breeze, it's not always about having the strongest lofted clubs. It's not, if you're playing links golf, it doesn't instantly mean that you need to go to something low and chasey. We can still get plenty of loft, get the ball landing on here and helping you lower your handicap. So guys, hope you've enjoyed that, and we'll see you again later in the week.
See you soon.